First Contact and Challenge. The Verax Collective's flagship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in patterns that would have been beautiful if not for their ominous purpose. Supreme Commander Zixtal stood on the bridge, all 6 of his sensory appendages extended in what his species considered a gesture of absolute certainty. Primitive, he declared, examining the holographic display of Earth's orbital infrastructure. Look at them, still using chemical rockets and solar panels. They haven't even unified their planetary government. First Analyst Mira 7 shifted uncomfortably, her crystalline exoskeleton catching the light. Supreme Commander, our preliminary analysis suggests caution. The humans have shown remarkable adaptability in their short technological history. Adaptability. Zixtal's appendages rippled with amusement. They're a Class II civilization, barely managing to reach their own moon. The collective has terraformed entire solar systems. We're doing them a favor by bringing them into the fold. The Verax Collective had been expanding for millennia, absorbing or subjugating lesser species into their perfect crystalline order. Earth would be no different, or so they thought. The first transmission was broadcast simultaneously to every radio telescope and communications device on Earth. The message was clear: submit to Verax authority within 1 planetary rotation, or face immediate technological regression. The collective would disable all technology above the level of basic mechanical tools. They expected fear. They expected chaos. They expected submission. Instead, they got Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's newly appointed emergency response coordinator, speaking from a hastily assembled United Nations broadcast center. Her response was being translated into every human language in real time, her voice steady and almost amused. "Interesting proposal," she said, adjusting her glasses. "But we have a counteroffer. You see, we humans have a saying: necessity is the mother of invention. By threatening to take away our technology, you've just given 8 billion humans the one thing guaranteed to make us more dangerous than you can imagine. A challenge." Zixtal's appendages twitched in confusion. "They can't be serious. Their most advanced weapons wouldn't scratch our hull plating." "You're missing the point," Mira 7 whispered, her crystalline form dimming slightly. "They're not afraid." Within hours, Earth's response had evolved beyond mere defiance. Social media platforms exploded with ideas. Engineering forums filled with improvised designs. Makerspaces and workshops worldwide began humming with activity. The humans weren't preparing for war in any way the Verax understood. They were innovating, adapting, and perhaps most disturbing of all, they were enjoying themselves. "Look at this," Mira 7 reported, her voice trembling. "They're organizing something called a Hack the Aliens Global Challenge. Teams worldwide are competing to develop countermeasures using only pre-industrial materials." "Absurd," Zixtal declared. "They can't possibly." "Sir," another analyst interrupted, "we're detecting unusual activity in Earth's orbital debris field. The humans appear to be repositioning their space junk." "Space junk?" Zixtal's appendages coiled in confusion. "Yes, sir. Using simple magnetic pulses and ground-based lasers, they're creating what appears to be a defensive grid using their own obsolete satellites and debris." The Supreme Commander's crystalline form darkened with irritation. "Enough of this foolishness. Prepare the regression wave. Let's see how creative they are with sticks and stones." But as the Verax fleet moved into position, they failed to notice something crucial. Humanity wasn't just preparing to survive a technological regression. They were preparing to turn it into an advantage. Dr. Chen's voice crackled over the radio once more. "Since you're so interested in seeing what we can do with primitive technology, we thought we'd give you a demonstration. Consider this our first lesson in human ingenuity." The space around Earth's orbit had become very crowded in the last few hours. And not all of that crowding was accidental. "Sir," Mira 7's voice had taken on an urgent tone, "I'm detecting thousands of small objects accelerating toward our fleet. They appear to be mason jars." Mason jars. Yes, sir. Filled with, oh no. The first jar shattered against the flagship's hull, spreading a substance that immediately began eating through their crystalline armor. The humans had discovered that the Verax's advanced materials had one significant weakness: good old-fashioned pickle juice. And that was just the beginning. The Verax were about to learn why you should never give humans a deadline, a challenge, and a reason to get creative with their jump drawers. Unconventional warfare. The Verax fleet's initial confidence crumbled faster than their pickle juice-corroded hull plating. But the Mason jar attack was just the opening move in humanity's carefully orchestrated chaos. They're using what? Supreme Commander Zixtal's crystalline form, pulsed with disbelief. Kitchen microwaves, sir, the tactical officer reported, his crystalline segments clicking nervously. Thousands of them, modified and synchronized. They're creating interference patterns that are disrupting our shield harmonics. Earth's response to the Verax ultimatum had evolved into something the aliens couldn't comprehend. Every household appliance, every piece of primitive technology had become a potential weapon in humanity's arsenal. In her emergency broadcast center, Dr. Chen coordinated with a global network of makers, engineers, and enthusiastic amateurs. Screens showed live streams from around the world. Japanese robotics clubs converting vending machines into automated defense platforms, Brazilian favela engineers turning old cell phones into sensor arrays, Indian tech startups reprogramming traffic control systems to track Verax ship movements. The beautiful thing about threatening to take away our technology, Dr. Chen commented to her staff, is that it forced us to really think about what we could do with what we already have. In orbit, the Verax fleet faced a bewildering array of improvised weapons. Old weather satellites repurposed as electromagnetic pulse generators. Swarms of modified hobby drones carrying simple but effective payloads. Even the International Space Station had been transformed into what the crew called a cosmic slingshot, using its momentum to launch precisely calculated volleys of repurposed materials. Sir, Mira 7 reported, her usual analytical calm cracking. The humans are now broadcasting their defensive innovations on something called TikTok. They're turning this into entertainment. Indeed, social media platforms were flooded with DIY alien defense tutorials. A teenager in Minnesota went viral with her video on converting swimming pool cleaners into anti-spacecraft sonic disruptors. A retired engineer in Kenya posted detailed instructions for turning old radio equipment into Verax shield frequency detectors. This isn't warfare, Zixtal fumed, watching another crystalline cruiser fall victim to what appeared to be a coordinated attack by repurposed car wash equipment. This is innovation, sir, Mira 7 supplied. And they're sharing everything they learn. Every time we adapt to one of their solutions, they crowdsource a dozen more. The humans had turned their greatest perceived weakness, their decentralized, chaotic nature, into an unprecedented advantage. There was no single point of failure, no central command to disable. Every defeat simply sparked more creativity, more impossible solutions. A group of Canadian high school students discovered that the Verax's crystalline technology had a critical resonance frequency, one that could be reproduced by thousands of coordinated kazoos. The resulting symphony of destruction concerts became both an effective military strategy and a global entertainment phenomenon. They're not just fighting us, Mira 7 observed, watching footage of people cheerfully setting up what appeared to be an array of modified leaf blowers. They're having fun doing it. The leaf blowers, as it turned out, were part of a sophisticated atmospheric disruption system designed to make Verax ships' atmospheric entry as uncomfortable as possible. The fact that it also created interesting cloud patterns was, according to the project's Reddit thread, a happy bonus. Sir, a junior analyst reported, we're detecting unusual activity in the Earth's oceans. The humans appear to be using their marine mammal communication research too. Stop, Zixtal interrupted. I don't want to know. Just Just tell me we at least managed to disable some of their technology with the regression wave. About that, sir. Mira 7's crystalline form dimmed with embarrassment. They apparently saw that coming. Something about Faraday cages made from chicken wire and hope. They turned it into a craft project for children. The Supreme Commander's appendages drooped. The collective had expected to find a primitive species ready for enlightened subjugation. Instead, they'd found something far more dangerous. A civilization that viewed technological limitations as mere suggestions and impossible odds as an entertaining challenge. And they were just getting started. The networked response. The Verax Collective had never encountered anything like Earth's internet. To them, information networks were meant to be orderly, controlled, and efficient. What they found instead was a chaos that somehow worked. A digital ecosystem that turned their invasion into the biggest collaborative project in human history. They're doing what now? Supreme Commander Zixtal asked, his crystalline form clouded with confusion. They're calling it Operation Roomba Uprising. Sir, Mira 7 reported, reviewing the streams of data flooding from Earth's networks. Apparently, someone discovered that our ground force's crystalline resonance patterns can be disrupted by specific ultrasonic frequencies. They're modifying robotic vacuum cleaners to emit these frequencies while continuing their regular cleaning duties. The project had started as a joke on Reddit, became a serious proposal on GitHub, and within hours had transformed into a global movement. People were sharing modification instructions in dozens of languages, posting video tutorials, and organizing modding parties where they helped elderly neighbors weaponize their cleaning appliances. In the UN Emergency Broadcast Center, Dr. Chen watched the phenomenon unfold with a mixture of pride and amusement. The Verax thought our lack of central control was a weakness. She commented to her staff. They never considered that 8 billion independent problem solvers might be more dangerous than any unified force. The internet had become humanity's greatest weapon, not through cyber attacks, but through unprecedented collaboration. When Australian surfers discovered that certain wave patterns confused Verax sensors, they shared their findings online. Within hours, coastal communities worldwide were coordinating to create massive, synchronized wave patterns, using everything from fishing boats to synchronized swimming teams. Sir, a junior analyst reported, the humans have created something they're calling Alien Defense Twitter. They're using it to share memes about our tactical weaknesses. Indeed, what had started as humorous observations about Verax vulnerabilities had evolved into a highly effective tactical analysis system. Teenagers were earning internet fame by spotting patterns in Verax behavior. Grandmothers were organizing knitting circles to create what they called crystal jamming nets based on observed resonance patterns. The Verax's greatest mistake had been assuming that humanity's fractured nature would make their response disorganized. Instead, it made them unpredictable, innovative, and impossible to silence. Every attempt to disrupt Earth's communications just led to more creative solutions. When the Verax tried to jam satellite signals, ham radio operators worldwide created an impromptu emergency network. When they targeted power grids, neighborhoods organized innovation block parties, sharing resources and ideas over barbecues and makeshift workshops. They've started something called Rate My Defense Setup, Mira 7 reported, her crystalline form flickering with disbelief. Humans are competing to create the most effective, and apparently aesthetically pleasing, anti-Verax systems using household items. The current top post is a combination wind chime and electromagnetic pulse generator that someone's grandmother made. The grandmother in question, a retired electrical engineer from Peru, had already become an internet celebrity. Her follow-up video series on crafting with crystal disrupting intent had inspired a whole movement of artistic warfare. The problems is, Zixtal observed, watching another squadron fall to what appeared to be a coordinated attack by modified lawn sprinklers. They're not just sharing information. They're inspiring each other. He was right. Every successful defense spawned dozens of variations. When a group of Korean gamers figured out how to use old PlayStation controllers to guide improvised drones, gaming communities worldwide began competing to develop the most effective control systems. Fantasy novelists started contributing tactical ideas based on their world-building experience. Food scientists offered insights on chemical combinations that might affect crystalline structures. "Sir," Mira 7 said quietly, "they've started a prediction market for our next tactical moves. And they're being disturbingly accurate." The prediction market, combined with social media trend analysis and what humans called swarm intelligence, had made Earth's defensive responses increasingly precognitive. The Verax would develop a new tactic, and Earth's defenders would already have countermeasures in place, often with themed t-shirts and catchy names ready to go. "They've turned our invasion into a global hobby," Zixtal realized, his appendages drooping in resignation. "Every solution we develop, every tactic we try, just becomes content for their, what did you call it? TikTok, sir." And yes, their latest trend is unboxing Verax tech videos. Apparently, they're competing to see who can salvage and reverse engineer our damaged equipment in the most entertaining way. The Verax had come expecting to find a primitive, divided species ready for conquest. Instead, they'd found a civilization that had turned its divisions into strength, its chaos into creativity, and its response to invasion into what they called quality entertainment content. And in the process, they'd discovered something terrifying. A species that not only refused to accept defeat, but had turned that refusal into a networked art form. Breaking point. The breaking point for the Verax Collective came not with a devastating military defeat or a technological breakthrough, but with a children's science fair project that went viral. 10-year-old Aisha Rahman from Birmingham, England, had wondered if the crystalline Verax ships might be vulnerable to rapid temperature changes. Working with her father, a plumber, she developed what she called the hot-cold hello, a simple device that combined a heating element from a toaster with a repurposed fire extinguisher. The video of her successful test against a fallen Verax scout ship reached 1 billion views in under 6 hours. "They're mass-producing a weapon designed by a child," Supreme Commander Zixtal whispered, his crystalline form practically vibrating with distress. "And they're calling it adorable." "The girl has already been offered several engineering scholarships," Mira 7 reported. "And her father's plumbing business now has a 6-month waiting list for what they're calling innovative household defense solutions." The Verax had faced military defeats before. They had encountered technological surprises, but they had never faced anything like this systematic dismantling of their dignity. Dr. Chen's latest broadcast was perhaps the most devastating yet. "We'd like to thank the Verax Collective," she said, adjusting her glasses with a small smile. "Your invasion has sparked a renaissance in human innovation. Our global science fair participation is up 300%. Makerspaces are reporting record membership, and we've seen unprecedented collaboration between industries that never would have connected otherwise." She held up what appeared to be a modified colander. This defensive shield generator was developed by a collaboration between a pasta manufacturer, a retired dentist, and a group of knitting enthusiasts. It's not only effective against your crystalline technology, it also makes excellent spaghetti. The Verax fleet watched in horror as humans began incorporating their defensive innovations into everyday life. Restaurants advertised crystal-disrupting cuisine that was actually effective against Verax technology. Fashion designers created tactical streetwear that incorporated signal jamming technologies. "Sir," a junior analyst reported, they'd started a reality TV show called Pimp My Defense Grid. Contestants compete to create the most effective and aesthetically pleasing neighborhood protection systems using only items from local hardware stores. The show was already being syndicated internationally, with each country adding its own cultural twist. The Japanese version, featuring elaborate Rube Goldberg-style defense mechanisms, had become particularly popular. "But why?" Zixtal demanded. watching footage of a grandmother in Brazil using modified Christmas lights to disable a Verax ground unit. Why turn it into entertainment? Because that's how humans process challenges, Mira 7 explained, her analytical nature finally grasping what made Earth so dangerous. They're not just solving the problem, they're enjoying the process of solving it. Every defeat we suffer doesn't demoralize them. It inspires them to try something new. The final straw came when humans started offering technical support to the Verax's own systems. Dear Verax engineering team, read one viral post from a group of IT professionals. We couldn't help but notice your crystal matrix is running an outdated optimization protocol. Here are some suggestions for improvement. P.S. This would also make your ships about 30% less vulnerable to our potato cannon arrays. The suggestions were not only correct but showed an understanding of crystalline technology that the Verax had believed far beyond Earth's capabilities. They've turned debugging our systems into a collaborative open-source project, Mira 7 reported, her voice filled with a mixture of horror and admiration. They're calling it Get Wrecked. Zixtal watched as another of his ships fell victim to what appeared to be a coordinated attack by modified ice cream makers. The humans had even given it a name, Operation Brain Freeze. We came to uplift them, he said quietly, to show them proper order. And instead, they've turned our invasion into a global science project, Mira 7 finished. And sir, they're getting better at it every day. The evidence was undeniable. Human innovations were becoming more efficient, more creative, and more ridiculous with each passing hour. They weren't just defeating the Verax, they were using the invasion as a teaching opportunity. Schools had incorporated anti-Verax engineering into their curriculum. Senior centers were hosting craft and defend workshops. Zookeepers were training animals to recognize and respond to Verax energy signatures, mostly by turning it into enrichment activities for their charges. Sir, Mira 7 said softly, I believe we may have made a tactical error in our species assessment. Zixtal watched as another wave of what appeared to be weaponized birthday party supplies approached his fleet. You think? Galactic consequences. 3 standard months after what galactic historians would later call the Great Miscalculation, Supreme Commander Zixtal found himself in the unprecedented position of drafting a surrender document that read more like a technology licensing agreement. They want us to what? He asked, his crystalline form clouded with disbelief. Collaborate, Mira 7 explained, reviewing the terms. They're offering to share their innovations in exchange for technical knowledge. They're particularly interested in our crystalline computing methods, apparently something about potential applications in sustainable electronics. The humans, having thoroughly demonstrated their ability to defeat Verax technology using household items, had decided that the logical next step was to improve it. They'd already started sending suggestions. But we came to conquer them, Zixtal protested weakly. And they turned it into a technological renaissance, Mira 7 replied. Sir, 17 other spacefaring civilizations have already requested observer status at what the humans are calling their Global Defense Innovation Conference. They're planning to make it an annual event. The conference, organized by Dr. Chen and streaming live across Earth's internet, had become the hottest ticket in the galaxy. The highlight was a series of presentations by ordinary humans sharing their invasion-inspired innovations. A panel of elementary school students demonstrated their Crystal Garden defense system, which combined basic hydroponics with frequency manipulation to create protective barriers that were both effective and decorative. A retired mechanic from Detroit showcased a method of converting classic car engines into anti-crystalline pulse generators while improving their fuel efficiency. The galactic community was fascinated. Species that had previously dismissed Earth as a primitive backwater were now sending scientific delegations, eager to understand how humans could turn nearly anything into a solution to nearly any problem. The Arcturian Science Council sent a formal request, Mira 7 reported. They want to know if humans would be interested in helping solve some of their engineering challenges. They're offering significant technological knowledge in exchange for what they call human creativity consulting. The term pulling at Earth had already entered the galactic lexicon, meaning to solve a complex problem using seemingly inappropriate tools in an unexpectedly effective way. "Sir," a junior analyst interrupted, "you might want to see this. The humans have started a galactic social media network. They're calling it Space Hub. It's for sharing technological innovations across species." "Let me guess," Zixtel sighed. "They're already using it to improve everyone else's technology." "Actually, sir, they're mostly using it to share what they call memes about different species' technological quirks. But yes, there's a surprising amount of collaborative problem-solving happening in the comments sections." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just defending itself. It was reshaping galactic society through a combination of ingenuity, adaptability, and what they called quality shitposting. Dr. Chen's final address to the Verax Collective summed it up perfectly. "You came to show us proper order, but instead you taught us something about ourselves. Turns out, humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our resources. It's our ability to look at any problem, no matter how serious, and think, 'I bet I could solve this with a toaster and some duct tape.'" The Galactic Council hastily reconvened to deal with the implications of Earth's emergence on the interstellar stage, found itself grappling with a species that defied conventional classification. They're simultaneously a Class 2 and Class 7 civilization, one council member observed. Their base technology is primitive, but their ability to repurpose it is terrifying. The council's official recommendation was straightforward. Do not, under any circumstances, tell humans something is impossible. In fact, it's best not to tell them anything can't be done. They take it as a personal challenge. As for the Verax Collective, they found themselves in an unexpected role. Reluctant partners in what humans called the greatest crowdsourced R&D project in history. Their crystalline technology, combined with human creativity, led to innovations nobody had thought possible. "You know what the strangest part is?" Mira 7 commented to Zixtel, watching humans and Verax engineers collaboratively redesign their fleet systems. "They're still using duct tape." Zixtel, his crystalline form finally showing signs of humor, replied, "At least they've stopped with the pickle juice." "Actually, sir," a junior analyst chimed in, "they'd just found a way to make it more efficient." In the end, the galaxy learned what the Verax discovered the hard way. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, their resources, or even their determination. It was their ability to look at any problem, no matter how serious, and think challenge accepted. And somewhere in Birmingham, young Aisha Rahman was already working on her next science fair project, practical applications of crystalline technology in modern plumbing. The galaxy would never be the same.